Yes, jamen velkommen til Studyseas webinar i dag med Macquarie University. Det er i dag den 15. oktober 2019, og jeg skal gøre opmærksom på, at det her webinar det bliver optaget og kan blive publiceret. Normalt så rejser Studysea rundt i landet, eller til landets største byer og holder fysiske infomøder, og i ny og næ, der har vi besøg af vores forskellige universitetspartnere, som fortæller om studiemulighederne ved deres respektive institutioner. I dag har jeg fået æren af at få besøg, og det ved jeg ikke, om man kan sige, fordi det er jo et webinar det her, men jeg har i hvert fald Anthony Bradley med fra Macquarie University, som om et par minutter vil fortælle lidt omkring studiemulighederne på Macquarie University. Mit navn er Mickey Kromann-Jensen. Jeg er international uddannelseskonsulent og stifter af Studysea. I har mulighed for at stille spørgsmål, og det er egentlig okay at stille spørgsmål undervejs. Der skulle meget gerne i kontrolpanelet være en Q&A-funktion, hvor man kan indtaste sit spørgsmål. Bare roligt, de her spørgsmål kommer ikke med på den her optagede video. Det er kun Anthony og jeg, som kan se dem, og vi vil selvfølgelig gøre vores bedste for at besvare de her spørgsmål. Lige til at starte med programmet for den her næste times tid, som det her webinar tager, det er jeg kort vil introducere Studysea. Hvem er vi? Hvad gør vi? Hvordan hjælper vi? Herefter får Anthony ordet og fortæller omkring Macquarie University, og igen efterfølgende der hopper jeg tilbage ind i billedet og fortæller lidt omkring de offentlige og private finansieringsmuligheder, der er, når man skal studere i udlandet. Og så runder vi selvfølgelig af også med Q&A. Studysea er en privat virksomhed. Vi har sådan 2 arbejdsområder. Det ene det hedder studier i udlandet, og det andet det hedder praktik i udlandet. Når vi snakker studier i udlandet, så er det sådan, at vi har over 55 universiteter, som vi har samarbejdet med. Vi er Studysea er officiel repræsentant i Danmark for de her universiteter. Vores arbejde, jamen det er finansieret af vores samarbejdsuniversiteter. Det gode ved det, jamen det er, at vi sådan set gratis kan hjælpe dig, hvis du ønsker at søge ind på en af de her universiteter, eller søge vejledning omkring mulighederne på de her universiteter. Det koster dermed ikke dig noget at benytte Studyseas service, når vi snakker studievejledning. Den anden del, det vi laver, det er praktik. Vi formidler praktik i udlandet. Det er ikke lykkes os at få virksomheder til at betale for vores arbejde, så der køber man som studerende eller praktikant en praktikpakke fra Studysea. Priser og indhold, jamen det afhænger selvfølgelig lidt af, hvor meget hjælp man har brug for, og hvor man gerne vil hen. Vi har nogle forskellige praktikpakker. Primært har vi fokus på Australien, USA, Vietnam, men vi har også mulighed for at hjælpe praktikanter andre steder hen i verden. Hvis det er noget, I er interesseret i, så har vi nogle specifikke webinarer og infomøder udelukkende om praktik. Og igen, hvis man er interesseret i at studere, ikke nødvendigvis på Macquarie University, jamen så har vi også andre universiteter. Så har vi generelle infomøder om studier i udlandet, og vi har også specifikke webinarer og så videre på vores YouTube-kanal, hvor der er optaget de her infomøder, så man kan få mere information om andre muligheder også. Hvordan hjælper Studysea? Jamen, vi prøver egentlig at gøre det så nemt og overskueligt at komme til udlandet og studere. Så det kan være lige fra første tanke. Man har en idé om, man gerne vil til udlandet, men ved ikke lige helt, hvor man kan blive optaget, hvor man har råd til at tage hen, hvordan man søger og finder fag og alle de her ting her. Der kan man kontakte os, og så prøver vi at finde frem til det, der matcher dig allerbedst. Hvis du så ønsker at gå videre og rent faktisk lave en ansøgning, jamen så vejleder vi dig også igennem det format. Man kan sige, at der er dels ansøgning til det udenlandske universitet, men der kan også være, hvis det er en hel uddannelse, man søger, jamen så skal den godkendes til SU, og der skal bruges en masse dokumentation til det. Hvis det er et studieophold, man skal på, jamen så er der nogle fag, der skal forhåndsgodkendes af en studienævn, og dertil skal der også bruges fagbeskrivelser og anden dokumentation, og det vejleder og guider vi jer selvfølgelig igennem. Heldigvis så er det sådan, at over 98% af dem, der søger igennem Studysea, jamen de bliver faktisk optaget. Vi kan selvfølgelig ikke garantere jer, at I bliver optaget, men vi har meget tæt samarbejde med vores universiteter og de forskellige admissions kontorer og kender ganske godt til de krav og så videre, som der er. Når man er blevet optaget, jamen, så er man egentlig det, vi kalder pre-departure stadiet. det er jo her, hvor man skal have styr på alle de praktiske ting, der skal være styr på, før man kan rejse afsted. Så det kan være alt fra vaccinationer, forsikring, finde bolig, og i høj grad også det her med at søge visum. Legatsøgning også. Det er ting, som vi vejleder jer igennem. I får fra os en pre-departure guide, som er specifikt til det land, I skal til. I får en eksempel på den gode legatansøgning, og hjælp til at finde ud af, hvorhen man kan søge de her, eller finde de her forskellige fonde. Der er over 800 fonde, der støtter studier og uddannelse i udlandet. Hvad kan jeg ellers tilføje? Jo, vi har Facebook-grupper, hvor på de mest populære destinationer, så hvis man nu gerne vil til Macquarie University i Sydney, jamen så har vi altså en Facebook-gruppe der gør det muligt for, når man har lavet sin ansøgning, blevet optaget, at komme i kontakt med andre som danskere, som vi har dernede, eller har været det tidligere, eller skal afsted samtidig med dig. Når du så har styr på alt det praktiske, jamen så rejser du ud, og så er det heldigvis sådan, hvilket også er et kriterie for alvor, som vi har til alle vores samarbejdsuniversiteter, at der er god support for internationale studerende. Så der er typisk et internationalt kontor, som tager god hånd om en. Har man brug for yderligere hjælp eller har spørgsmål, så er man selvfølgelig velkommen til at kontakte Studysea også under sit ophold. Når man kommer hjem, så vil vi meget gerne holde kontakten lige ved jer, og det gør vi blandt andet via vores alumne-netværk. Så det består jo af tidligere studerende og praktikanter, som har gennemført et ophold eller en uddannelse i udlandet, og som selvfølgelig har søgt igennem Studysea. En gang om året, der holder vi sådan en sommerfest. Vi har kontor i Odense, så det er typisk her i Odense, vi holder den, har en lille reception og tager sig ud og spiser noget mad. Derudover så har vi en Facebook-gruppe, vi har en LinkedIn-gruppe også, så det giver selvfølgelig mulighed for professionelle netværke, men også rent socialt. Det var sådan meget hurtigt lige fortalt, hvad det er, Studysea tilbyder. Det skal selvfølgelig siges, at vi går meget op i, at der er personlig vejledning, og man har mulighed for at få hjælp hele vejen igennem den her proces. Så igennem hele forløbet, jamen der har man adgang til en personlig vejleder her ved Studysea, så man kan ringe eller skrive, hvis man har nogle spørgsmål eller brug for hjælp. Så vil jeg ellers give ordet til Anthony Bradley, som er Regional Director for Africa and Europe på Macquarie University. Anthony, are you ready to take over here and tell us a little bit about your university?
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll just flick the share button here then, Mickey, yeah?
Yeah. I am just going to see if I can get you up on the screen as well. I see you here, but I don't think our participants see you. So let me just see if I can fix that.
Okay, so if you stop sharing your screen.
I'll stop sharing here. Now we see.
Okay, let's, so just let me know which one you're seeing, which desktop 2.
I am seeing your face, but now we are seeing your PowerPoint. So you think you need to swap that view.
Is that right there?
Now we see the field, the desktop background.
We did this before, didn't we? Okay,
yeah.
Just give me a second and we will let me know what you're seeing.
Try to swap. Yeah, then I think it'll work. Exactly. Perfect.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very, very much, Mickey. That was a very nice introduction, even though I picked up only a very few words of it. But look, thank you very much for tuning in to listen to me. As Mickey said, my name's Anthony Bradley. I am the Regional Director at Macquarie University for a huge part of the world, all of Africa and all of Europe. And as such, I'm actually based in the UK. So it does save me a lot of money and a lot of time in terms of traveling to those countries I mentioned. Now, traditionally, Macquarie University has had a very, very good presence and popularity through parts of Europe. And I will talk you through the university a little bit so that you can see why. So Macquarie University, we are based in the wonderful city of Sydney. It is not the capital of Australia, but it is by far and away the biggest city in Australia. It's got a population of about 5.5 million, and it is really the financial and administrative hub of the country of Australia. So it really does drive the economy. In that slide, you can obviously see the Opera House, you can see the Harbour Bridge, and you can see the ferries. Now, even though there are 5.5 million people there, it is a very relaxed, water-based city. So a lot of people will, at the end of their work day, take a ferry across to Manly Beach, go down to the harbour bridge, have a barbecue, have a beer or a coffee and watch the sunset. So one thing I will say about Australia is that Australians balance their lives very, very well. So it's very important that they work hard, but it's very, very important that they play hard as well. So Stat has seen Sydney, excuse me, being voted the second most desirable city in the world to study and to live. And there's a little bit of information. So it is considered the city of opportunity, a fantastic lifestyle, a very, very multicultural population, an extremely high level of safety. And for those of you who are looking to take advantage of our post-study work visa, some excellent opportunities to work when you graduate. Now, a little bit about the university itself. There are 42 universities in Australia. Only one of them is private. The rest are government funded, government accredited, government mandated, and government monitored. Now, in saying that, Macquarie University is a government university, but it's on privately owned land. It's on 126 hectares of land that we own. So, but just by looking at that picture, you can see that we encourage our students to take advantage of the open spaces. That whole area of the university is fully Wi-Fi, which means if it's a beautiful day, and without wanting to be insensitive to Europe, Sydney does have a lot more beautiful days than we are used to over here. So a lot of students will find themselves studying down on the grass, down by the lake, and the whole area is Wi-Fi compatible. So just looking at a little bit of information about the university, it's 126 hectares of park-like campus. We're a relatively young university, established in 1964. We've got a relatively large student body of about 40,000 students, 25% of which are international. The courses themselves are very flexible, which we will get to in a minute. We are not in the city centre. We are about 15 kilometres outside of the city centre itself. We actually have a train station on campus, which allows students to hop on and off the trains if they want to go down to the city campus, or they want to go and see the city, or if they don't live on campus. So the public transport is very, very convenient. Another thing worth mentioning is that the university plays host to 300 or more companies on campus. So as I mentioned, we use our land to provide private office spaces for companies like Microsoft, for Deloitte, for Optus. These are all companies that are based on campus. So students looking for work opportunities are very often able to find on-campus options. And we are ranked in the top 2% of world universities. Now, the rankings you need to take with a pinch of salt. Essentially, that boils down to research output. What you need to be concerned with is at bachelor's level and at master's level, the quality of our teaching is definitely world class. Now, what are we famous for? We're famous for the Big History program, which is this academic here. He actually learned, he has a program, and he's condensed world history into a short, consumable sound bites, and that's called Big History, a very popular online MOOC, which is an online program. Excuse me. We are also the home to Cochlear, which is the world's leading technology in audiology, so hearing implants and high-tech audiology technology software. We were the producers of the Gamma Knife, which is another high-tech instrument used in operations. Most importantly, all of you would have heard of Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi was invented on the Macquarie University campus by 2 electrical engineers about 25 years ago. So in addition to good teaching, we also have produced good research. And in addition to good research, we have created good applied research, which is when you take research and you industrialize it and you commercialize it. So what I'm trying to say is that Macquarie University is a bottom to the top level institution, from bachelor's degree to master's to research to applied research to industry links. So it is a one-stop shop that takes you from beginning to end of tertiary education and onwards. Now, where are we located? For those of you that have been to Sydney, you will recognize that map. The city centre is right in the middle of that picture. The main campus is about 15 kilometres to the northwest of the CBD. We have our own train station on campus, and that runs then through all the suburbs right the way down into the city centre. This is a view of the university itself, okay? It is typically Australian, very green, very flat, and sparsely populated. Those are some of the main buildings on the campus there. You can see the sports centre down on the right-hand side. We've got the train station. We have a shopping centre, and all the accommodation and laboratories and lecture theatres are all in the one place. So whenever we ask students what is it that they like about the university, a lot of them say that it is all in one place. So your accommodation, your sports, your shopping, your studies, your hospital, your transport is all located in the same place. It basically means that your entertainment, your studies, your sports, your transport, all is done from one location. So we are not a multi-campus university. We are a single one-stop shop. Now, sorry guys, excuse my coughing. I live in the UK, so it's raining and cold. Now, in terms of what we offer, we are a comprehensive university, which means we span everything from business, education, engineering and IT, environment studies, health and medical, law, criminology, media, creative arts, science, humanities, and then our postgraduate business studies like the MBA and the Master of Applied Finance. We are also very conscious that if a student studies in Australia, it's not cheap, okay? We are aware of that, and so we are equally aware that a student wants bang for his buck, a return on investment. So a lot of that money gets ploughed back into the university's facilities. So as I said, we've invested in a train station. We've invested in really sort of cutting edge student facilities, student social gathering areas. The library cost $3 billion. The actual campus itself has a price tag of $2.5 billion as well. So we do put money back into the facilities. So if you do come to study with us at Macquarie, you will notice the quality in infrastructure. Now, what can you study? We can talk about, I mentioned bachelor's degrees and master's degrees. From Denmark, we find that one of the more popular areas of study is the study abroad, which is a 1 semester or a 2 semester program that you then transfer back into your home degree. So looking on that screen, we have 3 options. We have a gap year program, and a gap year program is for students who have finished high school. They want to go to university, but not just yet. They want to get a sense of what it's like to study at university. So that is a 1 semester, 4 subject program, and they can choose from a very, very wide range, crossing all academic disciplines, whether it's business, whether it's engineering, whether it's media, communication, whether it's IT. As long as they have the prerequisites, they can mix and match. The second choice is a general choice, where you as a student would choose 1 semester, that's 4 subjects, and you can choose your study plan. As long as your home institution recognizes the subjects, again, you could choose from business, media, IT, engineering, whatever you want. It's important that you check with your home institution that they will recognize all 4. What normally happens is, if a student is doing a business degree in Denmark, in Aarhus, for example, they will choose 4 business subjects: finance, economics, statistics, something like that, something that is easily transferable back. The third option is a bespoke study abroad certificate, where you choose a study abroad certificate in economics, and then we will give you 4 economic subjects, or 4 finance subjects, or 4 media subjects, depending on what you want. So just to recap, you can come straight from high school as a test a year or a test a semester. You can come in and have a wide range of subjects that you choose as a student, or you can simply say, I want to do economics, and we will allocate 4 subjects of economics or media to you. So you've got a very broad range or a very narrow range you can choose from. Now, we also have a study abroad internship unit. This is worth 1 of those 4 subjects, and we will find you an internship program. Now, you have to be doing a business study abroad for this, but we will find, as part of your study abroad program with us, 1 subject, which is 12 hours. It's 150 hours of work placement in a respective area of study. So if you're doing engineering with us, we find you 150 hours of engineering work. Now, this is not an academic course of study. This is purely to get your hands dirty. So if you are looking to do further your work experience in Australia, this business internship is a very, very good opportunity for you to find good contacts. So what we like you to do is, while you're doing this, collecting telephone numbers, collecting email addresses, collecting names, so that if you do decide to stay on Australia and work at a later date, you do have a network that you can go to. There are some prerequisites. All of this is on the slide, and I will be sending this to Mickey so that he will be able to provide this information for you. But essentially, we are looking for people with a high GPA, a good score, 75% roughly. Students who have already completed half their yearly program, and they are only available to bachelor's degree students, not master's degree study abroad students. Another thing worth looking at is, if you are the kind of student who is looking for a higher profile. Let's say, for example, you are an outgoing type and you want to do more than academic studies. The Global Leadership Program gives you the opportunity to raise your profile by doing symposia for the university, by helping us with presentations in schools, by attending conferences, by presenting at our cultural days every year. So this is not an internship, and this is not remunerated, it's not paid, but it raises your profile so that you have a much higher labeling, a higher badge within the university. The universities in Australia, as I mentioned, we are very inclusive. It's all on a single campus. So we always like our students to mix it up a little bit. When that pen goes down at the end of the day, we don't want you to hunker down in your room and carry on studying. We want you to join sports clubs. We want you to join societies, associations, and groups. We actively encourage students to go out every weekend and go to the festivals, so that when you actually do finish your time in Australia, you've both got a balance of academic studies and some extrinsic Australian experiences. When you come back to Denmark, you'll be a totally different person altogether. Of course, all of you will have Facebook profiles, Twitter handles, Snapchat, and all the various profiles that I'm getting a little bit too old to understand these days. I can hardly communicate with my own children these days. They fire Snapchat photos at me. But if you are interested, by all means, go onto Instagram, go onto Twitter, and check out the hashtag MyMQ. Some of our more engaged students, they are very active in uploading photographs, uploading their personal stories. And this is a great way for your family and your friends to follow and to track exactly what you're getting up to without you having to send constant updates to them. You can just go online, use our social media platforms, Instagram, in particular Instagram and Twitter, with the hashtag MyMQ. We are looking at some kind of small gift. So Instagram photos that get a lot of likes, tweets that get retweeted a lot. There are some rewards and bonuses that we give certain students for this. Now, all our accommodation for that one semester you're here will be on campus, usually. If you're the kind of student that does not want to stay on campus, there are off-campus options, but we do recommend that if you're there for the short term, it's much better to live on campus simply because of the inclusive nature. It's where everything is happening. So we have a huge range of options on campus to study in. Excuse me. Damon Apartments, Dunmore Lang College, Igloo Chatwood, Herring Road Apartments, Macquarie University Village, Robert Menzies College, Morling Residential College. So we've got 6 or 7 different formats of on-campus accommodation depending on your needs. If you're an undergraduate student, we've got shared accommodation, we've got dormitories, and that works its way up all the way to the top level, which is almost like living in a hotel. So this is something that Mickey will be able to help you with. If you do apply to study with us and you get an offer, Mickey will be able to talk you through all the options of whether you want to be on campus, off campus, whether you want to be in a party place like the Macquarie University Village, or whether you want something a little bit more sedate for the more mature postgraduate research students. So there's a huge tiered level of accommodation infrastructure that we offer. Now, how do we support you? Well, even though as Danes, you speak English, you're probably widely traveled, and you've got a lot of experience in traveling. You are going to, a new country, possibly, and it's on the other side of the planet. So we make sure that we pick you up at the airport. We have a counseling and welfare group called Campus Wellbeing, and these are trained counselors and psychologists that are there to help you if you feel that you're feeling culture shock, or you're feeling homesick, or you're feeling depressed, or you're suffering anxiety. These are staff that are actually trained to help you with these issues. We have a medical clinic on campus. In fact, we are the only Australian university to have a full hospital on campus. So for all your medical needs and your overseas student health cover, we'll cover that at mid-range too. We have a numeracy center and a learning skills workshop area. I'm not saying you will need that. Danes tend to have no problems managing the level of academic requirements. Conversation classes and careers and employment services. Now, students who are on a full student visa, as part of your visa, you have a work permit embedded in it, which entitles you for 40 hours of work per 2 weeks. So we are able to help you find part-time work through our employment service. Now, in terms of how you apply, it's actually very, very straightforward, but this is something that Mickey will look after for you at Studysea. He's worked closely with us for a number of years now, and we just leave everything to him. So all the administration, all the stuff that you guys don't like doing, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, putting in application forms, making sure that you've got all the right procedures in place, that's something that Mickey will be able to help you with. And in terms of costs, as I mentioned, you've got, normally it's 4 subjects, and that is 9,800 Australian dollars, but there is the cheaper option of 3 units. Now that brings the cost down to 7,350 per semester, and it also gives you a little bit more time to get out and explore Sydney. Okay, so it does give you a little bit of flexibility in terms of your academic and your lifestyle balance. Okay, well look, that is it from me. That is a snapshot of the university. And I'm hoping that's either stimulated some questions or it's stimulated some interest. So I'm going to hand you back over to Mickey. Thank you very much indeed for listening. I will obviously we will stay on the line here because you may have some questions, but Mickey, if you want to grab the screen back and back to you.
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Good. Yeah, thanks a lot, Anthony, for a great presentation and some great study options. We've had a good number of students already with you, and
Absolutely.
they've all had really great feedback. I think that this semester we have a few students that have done an Instagram takeover on our Instagram. So if somebody's looking to see how other Danish students have explored and benefited from being at Macquarie, then check out our Studysea DK Instagram profile. Yeah, let me just take over the presentation here.
Yeah. Do I need to do anything? Do I need to click stop share?
No, I think that I think it's coming up now.
There we go.
Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna switch over to Danish again, and then I'll call you up in the end to answer questions, Anthony.
No worries. I'm all ears.
Sure. Thank you. Okay, jamen det var lidt fra Anthony. Nu er det jo sådan, at det desværre ikke er gratis at studere i udlandet, som det er herhjemme. Men heldigvis så er der rigtig gode finansieringsmuligheder, og det vil jeg også gerne fortælle jer lidt om. Heldigvis kan man sige, når man snakker studieafgifter, så er Macquarie faktisk det man vil kalde affordable. Det er rigtig, altså der er rigtig god værdi for pengene, når man tager i betragtning af, at det er et ret højt rangeret universitet. Det ligger tæt på Sydney, en storby. Så er det faktisk en rigtig, rigtig fornuftig studieafgift. I forhold til finansieringsmulighederne, hvis vi starter med at kigge på de muligheder, der er for at få tilskud med fra den danske stat, så er det sådan, at der siden 2008 har været den her udlandsstipendieordning. Hvad det betyder, er egentlig, at det som en uddannelse i Danmark koster, altså det taxametertilskud, de penge, de danske uddannelsesinstitutioner modtager fra staten, de penge kan man så tage med sig til at finansiere sit studie i udlandet. Der er der jo nogle klare regler for det her. Man kan maks få udlandsstipendiet med i 2 år. Man kan kun få det med til enten en hel uddannelse på kandidatniveau, eller et meritgivende studieophold, som er et led i ens danske videregående uddannelse. Og når vi snakker studieophold, jamen, så kan det både være på bachelor- eller kandidatniveau, eller på erhvervsakademi-niveau. Hvor meget man får med, jamen det afhænger faktisk af den uddannelse, man læser eller skal læse. Hvis vi starter med at kigge på udlandsstipendium til studieophold, så i 2019, der er satserne, som I kan se på slidet her. De her satser, de er baseret på 30 ECTS-point, som er sådan et almindeligt fuldtidssemester. Nu skal det siges, at er man ude i at læse et semester under sit sabbatår for eksempel, så er man ikke tilknyttet en uddannelse i Danmark, og så kan man så ikke få udlandsstipendium med. Men hvis vi kigger på meritgivende studieophold, altså hvor ens danske uddannelsesinstitution har godkendt de fag, man læser, så kan man få udlandsstipendium med, og læser man på universitetet, så har satserne her i 2019 været lige omkring mellem 21.000 og 45.000 kroner. Det har typisk været uddannelser som humaniora og samfundsvidenskabelige uddannelser, de billige uddannelser, om man så kan sige, i hvert fald i forhold til, hvad staten betaler universiteterne for, jamen de billige uddannelser, de har fået den laveste sats, så det hedder 21.550 kroner, hvor dyre uddannelser, typisk hvor der er laboratorier og så videre, som har højere omkostningsniveau, for eksempel ingeniøruddannelser, medicin, også IT-uddannelser, jamen der er den høje sats, som hedder 44.800 kroner. Udlandsstipendium, det skal bruges til at finansiere studieafgiften. Så hvis nu at man er så heldig, at studieafgiften er lavere end den her sats her, så er det ikke sådan, at man kan tage overskud i lommen. Omvendt, hvis studieafgiften, nu kan man sige, jeg tror, uden lige at have beregnet det, men studieafgiften på Macquarie University, den er faktisk lige omkring, som kursen er nu, lige omkring de her 43-44.000 kroner. Så hvis nu man får den høje sats, jamen, så er det i princippet gratis, så skal man ikke selv betale egen lomme. Men hvis man får den lave sats, så er der stadig et par 20.000 kroner, der ikke er finansieret af udlandsstipendiet. Så er det heldigvis sådan, at der er det, der hedder udlandsstudielån. Og det vil så dække forskellen på studieafgiften og udlandsstipendiet. Dog er det maks 107.206 kroner for at være helt præcis, at man kan låne i det her udlandsstudielån. Udlandsstudielån, jamen det skal betales tilbage selvfølgelig, og det er lidt på samme vilkår som et SU-lån. Så heldigvis lave renter. Satserne her på professionsbachelor, de varierer på udlandsstipendiet en hel del, mellem 27.000 og ca. 66.000 kroner, erhvervsakademiuddannelser, f.eks. markedsføringsøkonom, handelsøkonom, varierer her imellem 27.000 op til 52-53.000 kroner, hvor typisk datamatikere osv. ligger i den højere ende, multimediedesigner også. Hvad kan jeg tilføje? Jo, jeg har ikke lige satsen på for maskinmester, men den er faktisk ret høj. Den ligger på et par over 50.000 kroner. Udlandsstipendiet, overvejer man at læse en hel uddannelse på masterniveau eller kandidatniveau, så er der faktisk også rigtig gode finansieringsmuligheder. Desværre kan man ikke få udlandsstipendiet med til en hel uddannelse på bachelorniveau, men altså på overbygningen, kandidaten, jamen der kan man godt, og det kan man jo som sagt op til 2 år, være dog opmærksom på, hvis du har brugt et semester under din bachelor på et studieophold, så har du så selvfølgelig kun 1,5 års udlandsstipendiet tilbage at tage med. Det er ikke nødvendigvis et problem, fordi mange steder, især på Macquarie University, jamen der kan du faktisk læse en masteruddannelse på 1 år. Det afhænger selvfølgelig af uddannelsen. Nogle kan du læse på 1,5 år, andre kan du læse på 2 år. Det varierer lidt, og det varierer også fra land til land, og universitet til universitet og uddannelse til uddannelse. Men her har vi satserne for udlandsstipendium for 120 ECTS, altså hvis det uddannelse vurderes til en 2-årig uddannelse, jamen så er det fra 86.000 kroner op til lige knap 180.000 kroner. Så læser man IT, marinbiologi, for eksempel fysik, ingeniør, jamen så er det ret mange penge, at man faktisk kan få med sig. Nu talte Anthony mest omkring de study abroad-programmer, der er på Macquarie. Der er selvfølgelig også mulighed for at læse hele uddannelser på bachelor- og kandidatniveau. Der er studieafgiften en lille smule anderledes, så man kan sige, det Macquarie University har gjort, de har lavet en rabat, om man så kan sige, på deres study abroad-afgift. Så på hele uddannelser kan det være lidt højere studieafgift, men det har vi selvfølgelig informationer om. Det varierer lidt fra uddannelse til uddannelse, så der kan I altid kontakte os for at få den præcise pris. SU og SU-lån kan man selvfølgelig også få med, og udlandsstudielån også igen her. Andre eller øvrige finansieringsmuligheder, jamen der er legater, og det er helt klart størstedelen af dem, vi sender afsted på studieophold eller hele uddannelse, som får en eller anden form for legat. Er man heldig, jamen så kan man måske finansiere hele sit studie via legater, og nogle er måske også så heldige at få mere med, end de reelt har brug for. Der skal lægges en del arbejde i det, men i sidste ende plejer det sådan set at give pote. Scholarships, og det kan vi lige spørge Anthony om lidt, men der er faktisk, I don't know if you have your microphone on, Anthony, but you guys do have, which is quite unusual, you have scholarships also available on the study abroad program, or at least you've had. Do you still have that?
Yeah, we have limited scholarships in study abroad up to $1,000.
Yeah.
And also for students that are applying for a full degree, if it's a master's degree or a bachelor's degree, and if you're a European citizen, you're guaranteed a $5,000 tuition fee discount per year of study. So awesome. If you do a 1-year master's degree, you save $5,000. You do a 2-year master's degree, you save $10,000 and so on.
And that's guaranteed.
That's guaranteed as long as you are one of the 50 European member states. Not even European Union, it's even wider.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, thanks. Andre finansieringsmuligheder, Anthony han nævnte også den her mulighed for at arbejde, det er så en af fordelene generelt ved Australien, at man faktisk godt må arbejde ved siden af sit studie. Den hedder så maks 40 timer per 14 dage, det vil sige 20 timer i gennemsnit om ugen, men når skole ikke er en session, altså når der er ferie, jamen, så må man sådan set arbejde fuld tid. Og det behøver ikke at være et studierelevant job, altså hvis man vil arbejde på en restaurant eller noget, jamen det er helt fint, der er ikke nogen restriktioner i forhold til det, i forhold til visum. Banklån, kassekredit, personlig opsparingsskråstreg forældre er selvfølgelig også en rigtig god mulighed, når vi snakker finansiering. Man kan sige, med det her udlandsstipendium og udlandsstudielån, så er det sådan set muligt, selvom man ikke har pengene, men så er det sådan set ofte muligt rent faktisk at finansiere det. Det kan så godt være, at man gerne vil begrænse lånemulighederne, og så er det jo så, vi siger, søg nogle legater. Sådan lige her afslutningsvis, før vi går til Q&A, så vil jeg godt lige selvfølgelig opsummere, hvorfor og hvilke fordele der er ved at søge igennem Studysea. Der er sådan set kun fordele, fordi vores hjælp er gratis. Det koster ikke noget. I får personlig vejledning. selvfølgelig, selvom vi ikke kan garantere, at jeg bliver optaget, jamen, så har vi en ret god track record, hvor at det sådan set er 98% af dem, der søger. Jeg tror faktisk, vi var på 99% sidste år, som bliver optaget. Du kan søge med kort varsel. Det vil ikke sige, at man skal søge sidste øjeblik, men det er, hvis vi sammenligner udveksling, hvor man søger gennem sin egen skole, traditionel udveksling, og man søger studieophold gennem Studysea, jamen ved Studysea, så er det sådan set det udenlandske universitets frist, der gælder, og de kan ofte ligge ret sent, så det er altså ikke sådan noget med, at man skal søge et år i forvejen. Jeg anbefaler selvfølgelig altid, at man søger tidligt, så har man også bedre tid til at søge legater osv. Studysea har de fleste af vores universitetspartnere mulighed for at gratis at verificere og stemple jeres eksamenspapirer, så man ikke skal ud og betale et eller andet eksternt bureau for det. I og med, at de fleste sådan set bliver optaget igennem Studysea, men så giver det også mulighed for, at man kan rejse sammen med flere i en gruppe, flere venner sammen med studerende, eller med en kæreste for eksempel. Tips til legatsøgning og eksempel på den gode ansøgning får du fra os. Du kan møde andre studerende via vores Facebook-grupper. Du bliver en del af vores alumnenetværk. Og ja, du har mulighed for at læse på måske et af verdens bedste universiteter og mest populære destinationer. Vi har over 50 universiteter i hele verden. Vi giver dig et overblik over økonomien, kan give dig en budgetskabelon og informerer selvfølgelig omkring de finansieringsmuligheder, der er både fra det private og offentlige. Undtagelser i optagelseskriterier, Anthony var kort inde på det, men nu kan man sige for eksempel i forhold til Macquarie University, jamen det er heldigvis sådan, at danske studerende, hvis man har en vis karakter i engelsk, det står på vores hjemmeside, men det er, så vidt jeg lige husker, så er det 4. Hvis du har 4 i engelsk A fra gymnasiet, eller 7 i engelsk B, så behøver du ikke at tage en engelsk sprogtest. Yes, som tak for jeres tid, så sender vi jer lige sådan et værdibevis her på en rejseforsikring fra Gauda, som I kan indløse, hvis I ender med at tage afsted igennem Studysea. Før vi slutter helt af, så vil jeg selvfølgelig også sige, nu skal vi selvfølgelig, hvis I har spørgsmål, så er det allerede nu, I kan begynde at skrive dem ind. Vi bliver lige hængende, Anthony og jeg, i et par minutter, men I kan trykke på Q&A, så kan I skrive spørgsmål ind der. Uanset om det er til mig, eller om det er til Anthony. Men ellers så er der selvfølgelig også mulighed for at booke et vejledningsmøde med os, eller hvis I er klar på at søge, tag fat i os. Vi sender jer ansøgningsvejledning og guider jer igennem det hele, så det bliver så overskueligt som overhovedet muligt. Studyseas hjemmeside, studysea.dk, der er en profil på Macquarie University, hvor der er informationer omkring universitetet, der er links til, hvor man kan finde fag, der er informationer omkring studieafgift, hvordan man søger optagelseskriterier osv. Er der nogen, der har nogle spørgsmål til mig selv eller til Anthony? Or in the meantime, Anthony, I don't know if you have anything extra to add. I do have a question for you, though.
Yeah,
a couple of questions.
I do have one thing to add.
Yeah.
I'm acutely aware of the fact that I said our library cost $5 billion. It was actually $5 million, not a billion.
Good thing you made that correction. Otherwise, you would have been liable for that.
Absolutely. That's what I was just thinking. Yeah. So sorry, everybody, not $5 billion, but $5 million.
Sure. No problem.
Approximately. Allegedly.
Anthony, you have a train station on campus. That's pretty.
Yes. So
that's pretty great.
That's right. So last year, the train station was out of action because they were extending the lines. So what they've done now is that the Macquarie University train station, it runs down to a central hub called Chatswood, but it also has branching lines that go off into the suburbs. And so most of our students, once they've moved out and they're not living on campus, they find their way in using the trains. And it's actually very, very convenient. You can buy what they call it's a tap-on, tap-off plastic card. You've got the same arrangements in Denmark, I know, where you just tap on and tap off at the other end. So it's a really nice, convenient way of getting around.
Cool. And what's the transportation time? How long time does it take to go to the city center from campus?
Well, it depends. I mean, if you're going to do it, don't forget, Sydney has got 5.5 million people. You do it at rush hour. From the university to city center by train, you're looking at about 25 to 30 minutes. If you get a direct train, it can take a little bit less. So if you can imagine the busiest times of day, very similar to Copenhagen and Denmark, you've got a big city, a lot of people moving into the city center. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit longer. But on average, you're looking at between 20 and 30 minutes to get to the city center.
Okay, that's quite reasonable. I would imagine also that the cost of living on campus then would perhaps be a bit, cheaper than if you were to live in the city center.
Oh gosh, yes. So the city centre, Sydney as a city is extremely expensive. I mean, I was actually recently in both Copenhagen and Oslo. If you're familiar with Scandinavian capital city prices, then you are pretty familiar with what centre of Sydney is like. As a result, if you live on the Macquarie, in and around the university itself, it's a little bit cheaper because we're not downtown.
Okay, cool. And you have a lot of housing options. If I'm not mistaken, it's possible also, I think we've had in the past like couples, even somebody who had their child with them. So that's possible. If one of them who is traveling is a student at Macquarie, can the partner and kid, do you have housing available for?
We do have housing available. I mean, it's limited on campus, but certainly if you specify what you're looking for, our accommodation services are more than willing to help. We have people coming over in full families, wife, children. There are places on campus for that kind of accommodation, but it is limited. Obviously, if you're coming over as a family, you're more probably better suited to living off campus near the shops and sort of having that more independent lifestyle.
Cool. Awesome. So I don't see any questions here. Do we not have anyone who has any questions for?
Nobody's asked me any questions about the spiders or the sharks or the snakes.
No. How is so now it's, what is it, spring in Australia?
So it's actually just coming into summer now, yeah. So it's spring, getting warm. Sydney now, they're already in the water. I've got a lot of friends that live over there. They're already surfing now. Some of them are not wearing wetsuits.
Okay.
It's already barbecue season. So a friend of mine sent me a video of him firing up the barbecue the other day. So yeah, look, it's already warm. It's very, very different from Europe. So end of October, it gets warm. November, warmer. December, January, February, it gets pretty warm, almost 35, 40 degrees, and then it starts cooling down in March and April. So the warm season runs between the end of September, end of March, April. So it's a lot longer than we're used to in Northern Europe.
Okay, cool. And we now have a question. Someone is asking what the pricing is of accommodation and also if there's more information on the website. So basically the second question, I can easily answer that, because if you go at studysea.dk, click on Macquarie University, you'll see where there's a description of the profile. There are small different tabs you can click on. One of them is housing, or I think it says bolig. From there will be a link to the student housing options that are available at Macquarie University, and I think there's a pretty good overview also in terms of pricing, but I don't know if you want to add anything there in regards to pricing.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, you've got a range of options depending on what your budget is and depending on what you're looking for. The absolute minimum, you're looking at about $180 a week. And the absolute maximum, you're looking at about $550 a week, and everything in between. Like I said, the easiest way to do this is to actually budget what you need for the whole year. So if you're looking at food, accommodation, transport, your living costs on average are going to be about $20,000 per year in Australian dollars. Now, obviously, if you're going to go out partying every night, you're going to need more. But if you're staying home every evening, you need less. On average, students need a budget of about $20,000 per year. Okay. After the first semester, if you're doing a master's degree, for example, a lot of students will move off campus to reduce your fees. But don't forget, the sooner you move off campus, you then start paying public transport fees to get on campus. So it swings and roundabouts, really. Minimum, I would be saying you're looking about, I would be budgeting about $250 to $300 a week.
For housing.
For your housing and your living expenses, yeah.
Okay, the cheapest option, do you remember which one that is?
The cheapest option is Macquarie University Village.
Okay.
And that is the undergraduates stay there, and then you have the sharing opportunities there as well.
Okay, yeah. So 180
about 180 upwards, yeah.
per week. That's about a little bit more than 3,700 Danish kroner per month, just to put that in comparison. Cool. Do we have any other questions? I have a question about housing though, Anthony. As I could see of people who signed up today, a lot of them are looking for just a semester abroad. Are all options available for just a semester?
Absolutely. They're all options available. And as long as they get their order in early, it's a pretty safe bet you'll find something as well. Okay,
cool. So here's another question. What is, let's see, was the transport to and from campus for free?
No. It's subsidized, but it isn't for free. So it depends. So what you will do is you get what they call an Opal card. I don't have my Opal card on me, but it's essentially a little plastic card which you put money onto it. You load it up, $20, $40, $50, whatever. And as you go through the barrier, you tap on and it tells you your budget. And when you get to the other end, you tap off and it shows you how much has been cut.
Okay.
I think it costs about $4 or $3.50 to go from Macquarie University into the city centre.
Okay. No, that's quite reasonable.
It's pretty reasonable. I mean, if you use the public transport and you use that Opal transport system, it can be quite reasonable.
Okay. And
obviously, the minute you jump in a taxi, the minute you take an Uber, your prices will go through the roof. But those Opal cards are valid on the metro, on the train, and on the buses.
All right.
And I think on some of the ferries too, across the water.
Okay, cool. Any more questions? Okay, so there's a question here on how many courses are available. So basically, there's several ways, I guess, to answer that question. If you're doing a semester as part of your degree, your study board, I guess you would call it usually at your university, or your study abroad advisor would have to pre-approve the courses. And most students will be required to take what corresponds to one semester in Denmark, which is 30 ECTS points. So that would typically be four courses at Macquarie University. Right. As Anthony mentioned, there is the option of just doing 3 courses, but that will usually not correspond to 30 ECTS. But sometimes students are only required to do 20 ECTS or a different amount. In terms of how many courses are available, I don't know if you have that in your head, Anthony, but there's quite a lot.
Literally hundreds. I mean, if you're going in there with an open spectrum business approach, the number of electives you can choose from are absolutely huge. So there are unit guides. If you click onto our courses website, you can actually look at all the options available to you. My suggestion is to make sure that it is valid for transfer back to your home institution, is to pick the ones you want, and then go to your academic coordinator in Denmark and ask if they would be valid. But there's too many to mention. There would be literally hundreds in the business school alone.
Cool.
Yeah, and like I said, you would choose 4. Normally there'll probably, of that 4, there will be one that you have to do, one that what they call a core subject, whether it's the fundamentals of business or fundamentals of economics. But after that, the electives that you have access to are very wide ranging.
Okay, yeah, this also kind of relates to the next question here. The courses seem to build upon each other. Can we choose the more advanced classes if we have corresponding prerequisite classes at home?
Absolutely, yeah. So you can choose course, as long as you have the prerequisites, you can choose the advanced classes. In some cases, there have been students that have even gone into the master's level subjects. But again, this is a case-by-case analysis. As long as you meet the entry requirements, you can then choose some of the advanced programs. But like I said, that again is a case-by-case analysis.
Great. Waiting to see if there will be more questions.
I'm always, I mean, like I said, I live in the UK. I'm 1 hour behind you guys in Denmark. So if you've got an urgent question, flick it over to Mickey. Mickey can WhatsApp it or send it to me, and we'll have an answer back to you that very afternoon.
Yeah. Definitely. whatever we can. If we can't answer the question, we always have Anthony to reach out to.
And I'm on the same time zone. And if I don't know the answer, I will find out for you within 24 hours. And I won't make up numbers like 5 billion again. I'm sorry.
You promise us the correct answers. That's good to know. I don't know if we have more questions. Let's just give it a few seconds. Otherwise, I think we.
So, I mean, for those of you that have been to Australia, Sydney is a very dynamic city. A lot, and I will say one thing. A lot of you might have watched Bondi Rescue on television. You might have this idea in your head of what Australia looks like. I will tell you that Sydney is a very, very multicultural city. And even though historically you could say that we have a Western culture, I would say now that in the 21st century, and particularly because of our geographic location, our cultural and business and global connections are very, very linked to Asia. So you will find parts of Sydney that are very Asian. So you'll have Chinatown, you'll have an area full of Thai people. So a lot of people go there thinking that they're going to see these blonde hair, blue-eyed, surfy types. You will see that in parts of Sydney, but you're also going to be exposed to a very, very multicultural experience as well. So it's not even, as I said, even though your perception is that it's a Western country, you may find that it is culturally quite different to what you're thinking about in terms of Western Europe. Mickey, you'll agree with that, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a great place for food, great place for travel, great place for sport. And you'll find that Australians in general are a very optimistic, very upbeat, very enthusiastic group of people.
Yeah, I think culturally, I think that's also, there are quite a lot of similarities there between, well, Denmark and Europe in that sense, and Australia and Australians.
Yeah, no, Danes generally fit in. You make friends, you mix it with Australians. And from my experience, Danish students never really have a problem really fitting in Australia. True.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I can only, there's really only positive things that we have to say, Anthony, also about the experiences that our students have had. I think the only thing that sometimes have deterred students from going to Australia was the cost of living, because it's not the cheapest place in the world. But I mean, if you look at it at a bigger picture now, there is, I mean, if you look at currency exchange rates and so on, it has, it's not that bad anymore, especially not if you compare it to the US, which usually would be competitive. The US is quite expensive at the moment. So.
The Australian dollar has dropped in price quite a lot. And as I said, we are not based in the city centre, so that does cut your fees a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're doing a full degree, then you can work part-time while you're studying, full-time while you're on holiday. And if you do the right amount of time studying there, you can possibly even stay in Australia for 2 years to work when you finish.
Excellent. Well, Anthony, I think, well, it looks like we've answered all questions. So I want to thank you very much for the time now it's 2:00, so this has been exactly 1 hour, so perfect timing as well.
Right.
We will just create a video out of this webinar and put it up on our YouTube channel, and we will also share it with the attendants that have been here today in case they want to review it. But thank you very much, Anthony. I am going to also thank all of the attendees, prospective students, and do get in touch with me. My email is also here, mickey@studysea.dk. If you have any questions. Otherwise, thank you all very much for your time here today.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody, and thanks for listening. Like I said, if you've got any questions, flick them over to Mickey. I'm sure he has the answers, and if he doesn't, I can certainly help out there. And if I don't, then we'll find it from Macquarie University itself.
Cool. Thanks.
Brilliant.